Now, when you look at you talk about you've gotten better every year. I would concur with that based on my own evaluations. But you've had a bit of a there's been some change with what you had to go through the last 4 years. Obviously, you recruited Notre Dame by Coach Hiestand. You played under Coach Hiestand in 2017. He moved on to the NFL for an opportunity in the NFL, which is what you're trying to do now. And then you were coached by Coach Quinn, and then of course you've had different GAs. I know Coach Watt was an influential part of what you guys did this year too. What are some of the things that you could look back at your time and you look at, some things you learned from Coach Hiestand that allowed you to develop as a player? What are some things that you learned from Coach Quinn and Coach Watt that have kind of helped you put all of it together into what we see now, which is, like you said, a consistent, steady, effective player for a program that every year was trying to battle to win a national championship?
Yeah, yeah. I don't think I could say enough good things about any one of those guys. But going back to like my freshman year when I came in early with Coach Hiestand, that's I think when I was really molded into the player I was. Not necessarily like is developed technique wise, but just the type of player and like the type of person I needed to be a captain in Notre Dame and be a future NFL player, because I got to play with guys like Mike and Q that year and Sam and Bars the next year and watch them and understand who were all captains and like watch them and understand what they did and why they were the captains and why they were so good at what they did playing offensive line. And especially that first year, Coach Easton just taught me a lot of valuable lessons when it comes to football, just to go the extra mile and never forget like what gets people blocked and just going back to basics, because there's a whole lot of theories out there about different technique you can use and all kinds of stuff. And I think everything has a little bit of merit to it, but you got to do what works for you. And at the end of the day, it's not rocket science to play offensive line. You just go back to your basics and your fundamentals that he taught me. And that's what's going to get guys blocked. If every time over the last 4 years, I go back and watch film of myself, anytime I'm off or I'm getting beat, it comes back to just a handful of things that I learned my freshman year that I've just carried with me for forever. And Coach Quinn continued to instill those things, because the technique coaching didn't change once he left. It was the same. We were still doing the same things. So it really just came down to us coaching each other and coaching ourselves and taking the coaching from our GAs and Coach Quinn as to how to keep improving it. Because like I said, it doesn't change much, and those are going to be the things that get guys blocked.
The last thing in regards to the coaching, it was kind of interesting when Notre Dame hired Chris Watt, who was part of the original Coach Hiestand offensive lines at Notre Dame in 2012 and 2013. Did having a coach, obviously Coach Quinn was on campus, was around when Coach Hiestand was here. Then you bring in Chris Watt. Did those influences allow you guys to kind of just build on the foundation that Coach Hiestand laid, as opposed to bringing some outside coach who really had like you said, there's all types of different philosophies to go about this, instead of hiring someone maybe that had all these new different drills and techniques and emphases? Did you think that allowed you guys to kind of keep building on that foundation? Because you obviously, Liam and Tommy came in a year before you, but then you and Aaron came in the same class. So a lot of the foundation of this year's line sort of was built in 2 years. So was that helpful for you to be able to kind of have some level of continuity the last 4 years?
Oh yeah. We've played between the four of us who left. We've played a lot of games together. I don't know how many like combined starts we have, but it's definitely a lot. And that's kind of been the theme over the last 4 years, or even the last, almost 8 or 9 years. Like a couple guys would leave, and a couple new guys would step up. So this year it's a little bit different for them coming back. They got to fill 4 spots, and they have the guys that can do it. I'm not worried about that at all, especially with the guy like you said, like Watt there, because Watt's a guy that all of us trust, and that we know whatever he tells us, he's telling us the right thing. He's not a guy who's gonna try to be flashy, like Watt's a get your job done kind of guy. And it's the exact mold of a Notre Dame offensive lineman that you need. And to have a guy like that in a coaching position is invaluable to that room. So it's been great having Watt there. I'm excited for him to continue to coach those guys. And I can't wait to get back and see them and help too. But Chris Watt's going to be a very good offensive line coach somewhere whenever he gets his opportunity.